Well, that leads us to the next question, was what symbols did you use for the symbol line this year?
Well, we have two different symbol switches in the show. We begin the show with 20-inch crash ride pitch blacks, which obviously aren't exactly readily available, but we happen to get 6 pairs. All 6 symbols are marching them. It adds a deep, rich, military-type undertone, and really also portrays the fact that we are in mourning of a loss of a soldier. So it goes with both concepts.
And you switched?
We switched going into the closer. It's a very unique blend of 19-inch stadiums, 18-inch classical orchestrals, and 18-inch symphonic viennese, which adds some projection with the stadiums, but also a very rich medium tone, which allows a brighter sound, especially considering it's a different emotion going into the closer.
Were there any other symbols you considered for the marching symbol line, or something was a tough decision to make there, get where you were?
I'm partial to the stadiums, but I really enjoyed that blend that the classical orchestrals and the symphonic viennese added to the stadiums.
Kudos to her for working with that. Obviously, kudos to Zildjian for having such a variety to fit in such a window of a concept. I don't think anyone else can say that, and that really helped us, portray what we're trying to portray this year.
The concept of the show is based on the common man. So we wanted to pay tribute to all the common men who fight basically we chose the common man to pay tribute to all the common men who fight for the country overseas, for our freedom. And the vehicle that we chose was Third Symphony by Aaron Copland, which was a period piece back in the 40s, which he wrote to talk through really a tribute to the common man, the common folk who fight in the Army.
So then, when you did your symbol selection for this show, was this a group decision, or did one person make the symbols, the decisions, or what? How'd you go about that?
We usually make a group decision based on, and traditionally at Carolina Crown and here at Red Line, we use the same kind of approach. It's an orchestral approach, and so we have the boards all using suspended Constantinoples, and the classic orchestrals as well for suspended.
Well, good. Well, that leads into the next question of what type of symbols do you use with
Fair
the
enough. There you go. Yeah, a traditional setup is each of the boards of marimbas and vibes have a suspended symbol, of which we match and pick sounds and various sizes of the symbols I just spoke of, and then we also have a drum set and a rack as well. And really the rack is a smorgasbord of symbols that we use to really explore all the other colors that we have. And really anything new that Zildjian comes up with, we throw it right in there and do effect symbols, Zil bells, you name it. Goes all right inside there.
Is there any special symbol that you wanted to use this year, or any special effect you were looking for that you needed the symbol for?
Well, the theme of this year's show, with the Common Man and the Third Symphony, you really have to explore some of the dark sounds and then some of the brighter sounds. We're really exploring a variation of emotions in the show, so we need to make sure we match the cymbal sound with those emotions. So really it's various, to be honest with you.
Okay. And then of course your drum set, and how's that used?
Drum set is for some groove sections. I know, Third Symphony has a lot of groove sections in the original, just kidding. But we kind of put a little groove section in the middle to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, the drum set we use is a hi-hat, and then we have some suspended cymbals on there that are different colors than the ones that are on the boards across as well. So
very good. We
have a good base of color.
Very good. So for the cymbal line on the floor there, what cymbals did you decide to go with for that?
We went with 17-inch classic orchestral cymbals.
Yeah.
Really like the indoor sound with that. It's not too big and it's not too small. It's just right balanced for the indoor activity.
And how many cymbal players are there?
8.
And all 8 had the same cymbal?
Yes.
Okay. Was there any other cymbal that you considered for that line before you finalized your decision on the 17s?
Nope.
Okay, you knew what you wanted and you went with it.
I think so, yes. In past, I think 19s might be, they're moving a lot. We use the cymbal line for visual aspects as well. So they got to make sure they're going to be able to handle the cymbal as well, just physically. And I thought 16s were too small and 18s and 20s were a little bit too big. So I like the 17. It's perfect.
So
Perfect
considering
size.
the visual plus the velocity with which the players move and the size of the players.
Absolutely. You know, that all definitely comes into play.
Good. Well, thanks. Is there anything else that you can think you'd like to add to this?
No, Zildjian's been, I've been an artist with Zildjian for years now, and it's been fantastic. The sounds and the way that the company treats us as artists and are always there for the kids for an educational value, to give them opportunities to play new things and exciting things has always been great for us. So I want to continue to thank Zildjian for the support.
I'd like to start off by asking you about the concept. How did you decide to come up with the show that you did today?
Absolutely. Well, the show really was designed based off of the visual style. The visual style called steampunk. Now that always warrants a bit of an explanation. But steampunk really is sort of a modern visual movement, sort of an art movement where you use Victorian age technology in the application of modern technology. So if you Google steampunk, for example, you're going to see images of people taking laptops and putting gears and steam tubes and copper. So it's really just sort of a contrast of technology. And so very fascinated by this visual style, or this art form, I should say. So we really wanted to apply that to a show, but what we decided to do was take something organic and steampunk it. So a little bit different from what you would see on the internet. And so we chose a heart. So the show really is about this steampunk heart. So in the inside of this organic heart, you have gears and steam and copper and these little people that make your heart run. And that's essentially what the show's about.
Oh, very good. So, of course, then you had to choose some symbols to go with this. Now, when you choose the symbols for the show, is this a decision you make, or your staff makes, or an individual makes, or who decides what's going to be used?
Right. It's definitely a group decision, you know, as, of course, in conjunction with Jenny, as far as the marching symbols are concerned, you know, we've made some changes year to year. This year we're using the symphonic Viennese, 20-inch. Yep. You know, we got some pretty strong kids in the cymbal line this year, and so they're definitely able to wield those 20-inch cymbals pretty well. But yeah, it is year to year. I think with the design of the show, with it being about gears and steam, and it was a perfect vehicle to explore a lot of different approaches to Zildjian and the cymbal choice. So, but this year we did, on the marching side, we did go with symphonic Viennese.
Was there anything else you considered for the marching side for the cymbal line?
You know, in years past, we've gone back and forth between classic orchestrals. Those are really the two, you know, classic orchestral and Viennese that we've gone back and forth in the past couple of years. I think by virtue of the fact that, again, we had some really strong kids, and I'm not necessarily talking about talent-wise, which they are, but physically strong kids, we wanted something that was going to be a little more durable, I think, than the classic orchestrals this year. But yet sensitive enough to be able to pull out a lot of different sounds. So that's where the choice came from this year.
This year with the Viennese and the steampunk show, it's such a perfect sound for what we need on the floor, and it's not only is it a great sound for the crashes, it's a deep, kind of a dark kind of sound, but when you use it for actual sounds, you know, taps and tings and what, it cuts through. And it does project very well. So I think the classical or the Viennese are great for this show, and the 20 inches are perfect as well.
I imagine, again, you are responsible for all the visuals.
Yep.
Are you able to do more aggressive visuals?
In a show like this, absolutely. And you know, in looking at the talent that I have as well,
Right.
I can really utilize their strength, their backgrounds, their overall talent, and I'm able to really throw anything at them. I mean, there have actually been times where I will think in my head, there's no way they're going to be able to do this, and I will give it to them and they'll do it. So it's really remarkable what these students at RCC can do, and it really is, to me, today even, right before we went on today, I was blown away by what they've accomplished this year and what they'll bring, you know, to the future of this industry, really.
Has there ever been a time where you put a visual in and then you'll think of something else and no, take that out and put another one in?
Like every day.
Every day?
Yeah, that usually comes from me. Take that out.
Yeah. And he'll take something out, and I'll say, put this in.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it's great.
Has there ever been anything where you thought it might be too hard to do, so maybe you watered it down and gave it to them, and then they handled it, so, no, okay, let's make it more difficult?
Yeah, and it's great the camaraderie I have with my students at RCC. They're old enough to where we can discuss things like adults. And if I give something to them that's extremely difficult, they'll tell me this cannot be done. We can't do this physically. We can't do this. We want to do it. We would love to do it, but we can't. And I think when you have a relationship like that with a student, it really is. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Where do you get the idea for what you do? The ideas for the visuals?
Well, I think it's a blend of obviously what they're doing as far as staging, one. Two, what's going on musically, and then we're trying to convey messages, obviously throughout the show visually that are married to what's going on musically. So I think there are times when we try things and either they work or they don't work. But we're always trying to figure out what enhances what's going on musically in conjunction with the staging.
Right, and this year with the steampunk show, for me it was actually very easy to come up with visuals because we were dealing with gears and we were dealing with the heart, and I did a lot of things with probably things you may not even have seen. We subtle heart flutters or whatnot. So it's well, maybe he has seen it.
Oh, very good. Good. Well, Jim's been pretty quiet over here. We'll go over to Jim.
I don't teach the
talk
cymbal.
about the pit. Were there any type of symbols that you picked? What did you pick for the pit this year?
It was.
What didn't we pick?
Yeah, what didn't we pick is the good way to say it. It was a combination of everything because, as Jenny was saying, the nature of the show, it's a little more jagged and staccato, a lot of things, gears, steam, metal, and so what better show to expose all these different sounds, different effects with them, basically we had a couple things where we used chinas as in unison as a steam effect, actually choking them off, so it sounded like bursts of steam, and the things we could do were endless with all the combinations that we had. So
there were actually some particular sounds that you wanted to get in the show, and maybe some particular symbols that you wanted to fit into?
We just use a very wide selection. I usually go more with the voice and what the cymbal sound is, whether it's a crash or suspended for suspended parts, or, it's just a matter of experimentation of, I want to hear this sound, and if it doesn't quite come across as I want it, let's go to the next choice and see.
Right. Was there ever a time during the year when you had a particular sound in your head and you couldn't find something to match it, or you just couldn't figure out how to come up with the sound?
I don't know that that's the case. I think sometimes it's just maybe the manipulation of the cymbal more. The way that I would hear it, or hear it in my head, and we'd have to experiment with duration of the choke or how hard you hit it, because anything, the dynamics that which you play with sometimes. Yeah, it was just stylistic more so, but a lot of dark sounds. Well, 40-inch tam tam,
Right.
is killer. So.
And a lot of dark sounds. Well, that's good. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this?
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Zildjian. We're very fortunate to be able to use the best, and especially as our mission statement really is to provide the best possible experience for our performers year after year, and being able to use the best products really helps us do that.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Zildjian.
Thank you so much.
It's wonderful to work with the company, with the instrument. It is the best.
Yeah, thank you, Zildjian. Top to bottom. Wonderful.